This episode is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities.
I need all of those things, and I'm in Alberta.
Hey!
Picture this.
What a coincidence. In Alberta, you get to choose who to buy your internet, electricity, and natural gas from. Park Power has low overhead, which in turn allows them to offer low competitive rates.
That's what I want. I want low rates. We're all tight for cash.
Yeah, and you're in your first apartment, so seriously, you should be looking at Park Power.
Don't scold me on the ad.
Reach out for a no obligations comparison by emailing estimates at parkpower.ca. If you decide to switch, it's easy. It's really just a change to your billing, and you can feel good knowing that you're helping to give back to our communities with your utilities bills. Learn more at parkpower.ca.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of The Breakfast Dish, this podcast that I do every week and have for the last 40-something weeks, even though I had to be reminded that it's episode 41. But it's not really 41 weeks because we took a Christmas break, so it's almost a year now. We've almost been doing this a year. Yeah, Griff? Yeah?
Hey, did you do something this morning?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Drugs, adrenaline, something of the sort? You're really going on it.
Pickle juice, baby. Pickle juice.
Because of your Zoom background, it looks like whatever you're drinking from your mug is censored.
Oh, I see. I've got blur, and then I disappear into it. It's because my office is a mess, and I don't want to introduce people to my messy office that have never been in my office. You're the only one who's allowed that.
Because I know what the things in the background are. They're just posters of shows you've done. But because you can't distinguish the lines between them, it almost looks more messy.
Well, there's that and a lot of pictures of Neil Diamond. Boom! Got him in the first 1 minute.
Aye.
So, Griff, you are my son. Talk about what that's like.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I didn't know we were going to do this in front of Emily and Shelby, but honestly, there's been a lot of ups and downs. It's nice to be an only child, but that also comes with a lot of consequences. It's a lot of, you get spoiled a lot, but you also get the focus of all the parenting. We're doing this right now, Karen, really? Right here? Free therapy?
Well, our listeners need to know that this is a mother and son podcast, and we've never actually talked about the experience of being mother and son. 10 out of 10 would do it again.
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What's
great?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Give me some details. What's this like? What is it like being my mom?
Oh no, it's pretty great. Like you hardly ever got drunk in front of me. So
In front of me.
Name me a time that I got drunk in front of you.
Your 17th birthday party and your 18th birthday party.
That doesn't count.
Why don't they count?
Well, Dad helped. He gave me champagne glasses, especially on the 18th.
Did he give you champagne or just the glasses?
Oh, yes. Right. No. The champagne was present, absolutely, in said glass.
Yes.
It was there.
Great.
I want to talk more about your drinking after I say what this
don't.
After I say what this podcast is about. This is our podcast that we started at the beginning of Stay Away From Each Other Times in order to amplify and talk about and highlight all the art that is happening that you can still imbibe, see what I did there, while there's a pandemic going on. So you might not be able to see things live, but you can see them online. Sometimes you can see them from very, very, very far away. Sometimes you can just hear them. Sometimes you can look at them online. That's a foreshadowing to our next episode. So that's what we do here at The Breakfast Dish. And we also meet people that either we know and learn more about or we don't know. In this case, I know one of our guests a little and the other of our guests a none. And I can't wait to meet them. Introduce them, Griffin, son, boy.
Right. Let me just be clear. One of our guests is not a nun. She knows them only nuns. Anyway, we have to move on. Today, we are joined by not two nuns, but by Shelby Reinitz and Emily Howard from DIY Theater. Hi, friends.
Hi. Hello.
Thank you for joining us on The Breakfast Dish and listening to What could only be described as an intervention.
Yeah, coming from Griffin, who Uber Eats'd me a Smirnoff Ice.
That's right. Absolutely.
What?
Do you know about this tradition, Mother? Icing somebody? Do you know this?
Getting iced?
No.
Really?
I'm 54.
I don't know this tradition.
Thank you, Shelby.
So what you do is you hide a Smirnoff Ice, it's like a cooler, and you hide it somewhere, usually at a party, and when someone finds it, if it's under a pillow and they move it, they have to chug it on one knee. They have to chug the whole bottle. And so we were having a virtual party over Zoom, a bunch of us, and Griffin texts me and says, go to your front door. And he had delivered me one of these drinks, so I had to chug it alone while watching the friends online. It was horrible. I didn't know you could do that.
Shelby, have you ever chugged a Smirnoff Ice?
I can't say I've ever chugged one, but I've definitely had one. But that was definitely in the teenage years.
Yeah, it's not cool anymore, I don't think.
Anyway, why are we here? DIY doesn't stand for desperately intoxicating yourself.
Whoa, okay.
Well, you know what? It could. On certain days, it could.
Okay, I want to hear more about that.
DIY theater is, I don't know, it's like a small little indie company. We're in our 5th season right now. And I think that we desperately intoxicate ourselves when we are wearing multiple hats. Yeah, because sometimes there's just a lot of stuff going on, and then you're in charge of all of it because it is DIY. Yeah, it can get a little crazy.
And what are your hats?
Oh gosh, it depends on the production, but I'm the artistic director. And then this production, I wrote it, I directed it, I composed, and then I ended up editing some of it too.
Amazing. And are you a founder of the company as well?
Yes. Yeah. I started it myself.
I think you should call it DIM Theater. Did it myself.
Dim.
Dim.
Welcome to Dim. Yeah.
Hey, have you guys checked out Dim's season? Have you seen anything at Dim? Some.
Dim's.
Anyway, you founded it. Carry on.
Yeah, we wanted to do a kind of a play on the whole DIT role this past year, because we were going to start a little second series called Do It Together. So DIT theater, and then have that that focus be all on digital projects that were created with the intent of showing it digitally, but it didn't end up happening.
It is. You've done something together, and it's digital. Wouldn't you say?
Actually, Shelby, cool thought, but it did. So thanks for coming on The Breakfast Dish, and end of episode.
All right, Emily, your hats at this particular time with DIY Theater?
Oh, I was in the latest production of Trial by Faith, A Faustian Tale. I was playing Gretchen, so I was just acting in the production.
You were also a dog wrangler.
Yeah, I was the go-to. So whenever I'm in a space with dogs, I'm I'll see you guys later. Yeah. Oh.
Insane time.
Insane. She knows my voice.
Who's got the dog? The rules are if you have a dog, we get to meet the dog. Those are the rules. We forgot to tell you.
We can totally meet the dog.
Is it Story?
It is Story, yeah. I'm just going to go grab her. Sorry.
The dog's name is Story?
Story, yeah.
Story.
It's been a long time since we've had someone with an available pet. We met Bronwyn's pet, Horatio.
We did. That's
right? So now we're going to meet Story.
Oh.
This is a little tiny cockapoodle, maybe?
She's a Bichon Shih Tzu Yorkie cross.
I absolutely didn't have any idea what kind of dog that was. And also, it's one of those ones that when they've got that underbite, so they look like a little tiny bulldog, even though they're not, because they're a Bichon Shih Tzu Yorkie cross.
Nice.
Shit show
No.
Yorkie cross.
Shishu.
A Bichon Shih
Black and white, but the one of the black patches goes over one of the eyes, but the other eye is covered in white. And that, yep, you tell him a story.
Yeah, and she's got her blue eye is on the black patch, and then her brown eye is on the white patch.
Oh my gosh, adorbs. How millennial did I sound then?
That was actually tubular what you just did.
Totally. Tubular. But I would mostly just hang out with her and take her for walks on my time off. So that's where I can be found at parties.
Outside
Also.
with a
Hanging with
Smirnoff
dogs.
Ice.
With the
talking
dog.
about-
Yeah, and drinking coolers.
And 5th season. Okay, be quiet, Griffin. It's my turn to ask more
Absolutely.
questions.
This is why I drink. Sorry.
What has your experience been like in Calgary starting a small independent theater company? Because I've done it. Griffin's done it, but I did it 20 years ago. He did it almost 8 years ago, maybe. I'm just interested to see, did you feel supported? Did you feel left out in the cold? What?
Oof.
Oof.
It's really hard. Well, I mean, there are so many like small companies that are in Calgary right now. I think at one point there were like 50 of them. And you're all sort of vying for the same audience. And then you're competing with all of like the big guns, just trying to get the word out, trying to get talent out to auditions. Funding is just like, that's never happened for us. We've never received any support, any funding or anything. We've got 3 anonymous donations that we've received that have kind of kept the lights on and kept us going. But other than that, everything has been, like profit shares and stuff like that. Yeah, just very strongly encouraging cast and crew to sell tickets.
Yep. I can only tell you that 20 years ago, that's exactly what we were doing. Here's the thing I'll say. I was living in Calgary when Downstage started, when Simon went, oh, I need to start a little theater company. And I was in Calgary when Ryan Looning went, oh, I have to start a little theater company. And Ground Zero started. And Ghost River, like they start and they happen and they evolve.
I will say something that Karen and I were talking about is DIY's achieved charitable organization status, right?
We have, yeah.
Right. So in 5 years, that's a feat.
It is. Yeah. It's, in some ways a stupid feat, because we don't have the membership list to support, being eligible for things like casinos or 50/50s and stuff like that. So we're kind of in this like weird place right now where we can't get project funding because we're a charity, and we can't get charitable funding because we're not big enough.
Membership meaning that you could get 40 people to sign a thing saying, yeah, I'll work your casino in 7 months?
Yeah, well, we've tried to run a 50/50 a couple of times, and they've told us that because we don't have a membership list on our website, we don't meet all of their qualifications.
I'll be on your membership list.
Yay.
No, I'll work your casino.
Thank you. I will hold you to that.
Talk a little bit about this particular production. Like, where were you guys filming? How long did it take? The nice little minute details.
Emily, do you want to talk?
Sure.
No, just you, Shelby. Only you.
I was like, I'm just listening. This is fun. Yeah, so, I mean, we filmed the production over 3 days. So it was like a really packed 3 days that we filmed it. And it was in the Work Nicer space in Calgary, which is like a collective space. There's different rooms, but we were sort of in the Hemingway room, which was this beautiful brick, space that they decked out, and we used different areas to film sort of the whole show. Yeah, so it was a really tight schedule of getting a 2.5 hour production into those 3 days. So it was this interesting mix of like, we had done rehearsals. So we were kind of coming in and it's like, we're doing a run of the show, but we're also filming it as a film. So it was kind of this like in between experience. It was really unlike anything I've really done before.
Tell me more about the space you said, because looking at the trailer, I thought you guys were for sure in the pump house. What is the space you said you were in, Emily?
It's a Work Nicer space. Shelby, what is it actually considered? It's like a collective.
Yeah, it's a co-working space. So Work Nicer is, I guess the company that kind of manages it. And they've got 3, they call them outposts in Calgary. So when you become a member, which DIY Theatre, became a member organization, we are able to go in and book meeting spaces, print all the stuff that we need to do, have meetings, all those sorts of things. And we can do them at any of their outposts. So technically, we could have filmed in any location in Calgary. So they have one above Twisted. They've got one on 17th Ave that we used a couple times for rehearsals. And then they've got the one that's in like the Ramsey Design Center, which is where we filmed the show. And then they've got another one in Edmonton. So technically, if we wanted to go and like do the show in Edmonton, we'd just book a room at that outpost and take the show and go. In the before times, we'd be able to do that.
I had no idea that existed. So yay for this podcast, or I'd be dumb about that.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's a great space. The one where we filmed at, they call it Rail Yards, but it's definitely the most dynamic space. They've got like these really old antique like chandeliers that hang from the ceiling. And then, they've got that brick wall and all this really cool eclectic furniture and stuff. It's the coolest vibe.
What also blew my mind is so they're encouraging people to just like work together, to share the space, different people. And they sort of have this main common room that they just have beer and cider on tap and coffee and drinks. And you just help yourself.
Yeah, you just drink them.
As long as you're part of the membership, you go and you just enjoy.
That's such advice for me in terms of when I hear about a place that's supposed to be so cool, like having a cider tap or like free coffee. I go, oh, that must be an awesome place to work.
Right.
You adapted this show, Shelby.
I did, yes.
And how long did that take you?
and
I think I started it last spring, and it was done by August. We did a workshop reading of it in September or October, and then we cast the show in January. So it was fast. And I worked with Kaylee Reggett. I brought her on as a dramaturg, and so she kind of like kept me on schedule and read everything. And then I had Mark Lewandowski as a mentor director, which when we got into like the digital part of rehearsals and stuff, he wasn't able to be so much involved, but he read the script several times and provided input and stuff like that as well.
Is Mark a Rosebudian? Mark Lewandowski?
He is,
Yeah, right.
yes.
And you also composed the original music?
I did. Yeah.
Right. So that's a lot
I'm going back to bed.
Why?
Like, I can't do anything. There's too many talents, and all I figured out is how to blur my background.
Hey, I don't know how to do that.
I'll teach you one day. Us old hats know a few things that you young pups can learn.
Oh my God, Karen's drunk. This has all been a ruse.
Anyway, you composed the music, Shelby. I interrupted you.
I did. Yeah, that was the end of that story.
So, because again, Karen and I haven't had the pleasure of watching yet. Is it kind of in a Faustian style? And I guess I mean of that of that time period, of that era, rather than Faust making music.
That would be interesting. I wonder what that would sound like. Just like utter chaos.
Yeah, it would just be a fiddle so fast.
I would say it's probably a little more classically inspired. It's a digital score because you just can't get people with all of the instruments together to record it live right now. But it's very heavily string based, strings and piano, which I guess you could argue is a string instrument. Yeah, I don't know. Is it like, Emily, what do you say words?
Oh,
Yeah, Emily, say words.
I don't know. You've heard it. I don't like talking about it because I did it.
yeah.
so.
I mean, you also, not only did you compose it, you also sang in a lot of the little things, right? You had a little bit of singing on it. There's some parts that are a little spooky. I thought it was a great addition to sort of the storytelling and for moments. And it was just, again, another hat.
Watching the trailer, it feels like epic gothic.
Ooh, I like that. We'll go with that.
Now, Emily, you're no stranger to making film productions in this current era because you recently created the 30 Below show with a group of your friends. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. So this show actually went through like a million different things throughout the last year because it was supposed to be a part of the Chinook Blast Festival, and they were hoping to host live shows around Christmas time, which was, like hopeful. But of course, we went into another lockdown. So we had to sort of shift how we were doing the show. So we were going to do it live and sort of stream it like some people have been doing. But then that wasn't possible because some of the restrictions that we would have had to adhere to. So then we sort of like the festival wasn't happening, wasn't going to support us. So we thought, you know what? Let's just turn this into a film. Let's just record it. And let's see. I mean, none of us have really done it before, created a film like that. So we just went for it and filmed outside all winter. And it just came out and we released it with the Calgary Public Library. They kind of helped us. We were actually supposed to perform in their beautiful theater space. And then they sort of helped us and they want to continue. Hopefully next year we'll be able to do it with them. But yeah, it was wild. It was so wild and fun to work on a clown show, running around the city. I mean, I was I was the clown in the show. And so I'd be like driving to wherever we're going and I'm like in my clown makeup and I'd look over at someone and they would be like, what? And I'd be like, see you later. I was just terrifying people.
You're on punked.
Yeah, I was like, huh, nice. And I get embarrassed in public. Like I don't like a lot of attention. And then I like ripped my pants one day. There was a lot of things that were happening.
Sorry, we just had a tech thing. 1 second. We need you to tell that story.
The whole
ripping pants story. Yeah, because,
It's a podcast tech thing. We need to hear the whole story.
Well, I mean, there's nothing really to it more than I bent over to pick up a bag and my jeans split right in half all the way down. And then I still had to film a scene. So I was running around holding a suitcase behind my butt and like literally hopping around in the snow. And then I had to sew it, obviously, because I had to use the pants. And I didn't do very well. And it just looked like this horrible stitch job that a doctor had done with like bits coming out of it. So if you watch the show and you're looking at my butt, you might see it.
That's all I'll be looking for now is the bad stitching job.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
I will also mention that there is one cast member, Connor Seward, who for most of it has a mustache, but there's a few scenes where he had to shave his mustache, so he holds a coffee mug in front of his face, and it's very good.
Yeah. Oh, it's a problem here. I'll just cover it. No problem at all. I'll film the rest of the show like this. That was his solution.
Hey, speaking of cast members, Shelby, tell us about the cast of Trial by Faith, Faustian. I'm going to get the title wrong.
Trial by Faust, a fire
Fire
story.
me in the Faust story.
Campfire sing-song.
Doo-da.
It's the weirdest title too. I don't know. The whole entire time I just called it Faust too, but then I was like, well, we can't actually call it Faust. It needs a fancier title.
No, really, that's on us. We're the podcast hosts. We received the press release.
Yeah.
We should be able to say the goddamn name.
I'm the one that couldn't say it. Okay, tell us about the cast.
We had a 5-person cast, and they were all very lovely humans. So we have Daniel J. Perryman, who played the role of Faust. Emily played Gretchen, as we mentioned. We had Caleb Gordon, who played Mephisto. In the original would have been Mephistopheles, but, because we were changing it, I shortened the name. Kaylee Richards played Hector, and then we had Deidre Solange Ladouceur, who played Helen. We had some little demon entities that just kind of appeared as well throughout. So we don't know their identities.
And one of them had ripped pants.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a nice little callback.
I don't know Dan, and I know Kaylee, your dramaturg, but not Kaylee, your cast member. Deidre's played in Dirty Laundry with us a couple of times, but I'm the president of a Caleb Gordon fan club.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to have to fight Louis Hobson for that.
I don't doubt. Or my mother, because here's my little Caleb Gordon story. We went to see on the same night a couple years ago, The Little Prince. Is that what it was called at Theatre Calgary, or Lost Prince?
The Little Prince, I think.
The Little Prince
Prince Fire Faust Doodah show.
7:30 to 9:30, and then raced across town to the Birds and Stone to see Caleb do Daniel McIver's house in the basement. And my mom was insane that those two amazing shows could blow her mind like that. But she just did a documentary with Griffin about her theater going experiences, and House Caleb's show is still in her top 10.
She leaned like 5 feet out of her chair. She went, absolutely astounding.
Wow. And she's seen almost 1,000 plays in the last 10 years. Like she sees about 100 a year, and House is still right up there.
I would love to set up a cool like back alley fist fight with my grandma and Louis B. Hobson for the president position of the Caleb Gordon fan club.
Wait, I was the president.
Sorry, new term.
Oh, I'll be treasurer. Can I be treasurer?
Yeah.
I'm so telling him this story too.
Oh, he knows it. I've told him 1,000,000 times. But you have cast members that it's a bit of a coup to have for your independent show. You know what I mean? It's a very impressive cast.
It is, yeah. I'm very grateful that they were all able to take the time to be a part of the show. Caleb, actually, I wrote the role of Mephisto with his voice in my head. Because we've worked together on a couple different projects. And so I was just like, I can't get out of my head the way that you say these lines. So sorry.
Are you a Rosebudian by any chance, Shelby?
I'm not, but I seem to be surrounded by Rosebudians.
We all are. And yeah, I'm so glad we are.
I find though, every couple of years, all of a sudden it'll be like everybody's from one school. So like way back when I started my first company 14 years ago, it was RDC. Everyone was from RDC. And then like it switched. Everyone was from U of C. I know everybody was from U of A for a little bit. And I'm in one of those phases right now where like everybody is from Rosebud.
Yeah, I had a U of L year.
Oh yeah. U of L is another one.
But I think that says good things about our province.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
RDC is my, what do you call it? Alma mater, even though it's not a university and it doesn't actually give a degree, or didn't at the time.
You're the first grad, right, of the RDC program? I think we've talked about it.
The very first ever of that program.
I'm so sad they cut that program now.
Oh, God, me too. Don't even get me started.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry. Oh, we'll move on. Don't get me Don't get me started. I want to get into the brass tacks a little
Okay,
bit.
before you get into brass tacks, I just want to say two things. And you will probably talk about this, Shelby and Emily, but I just want to say the brilliance of breaking up the release of it into 5 or 6 different episodes before the whole thing was released was genius. And also there's a contest. So you do the brass tacks, buddy, and then I want to talk about the contest.
All right. Well, all I want to know is like, where do people go? Where can they see it? Talk about a little bit about the pricing. I think they have until the 29th to see it, if I'm right about that.
Yeah, that's right.
So they just head to the DIY site. Is it a ticket link? Is it a link that gets sent? Give me all those hard knocks.
Yeah. So you go to the DIY Theater website, and you click on Trial by Faith, and there's a link there to purchase tickets. So you just purchase one time, and then you get access to the entire show, because the whole thing has been released now, and it is broken up into 4 different episodes. So you can watch them one at a time if you want to, or you can binge watch the whole show if that's more your jam. And the episodes are all under 45 minutes. I think the first one's about 45 minutes, and then they all kind of progressively get shorter from there.
And Emily, where do people check out the 30 Below show?
So I believe the Calgary Public Library, they have posted a link to the show on their website for their sort of digital productions, as well as we have shared it, on Facebook and Instagram. So a link is posted on YouTube. So if you're friends with anybody who's involved in the show, it's been shared around. So yeah, you can just click it and it's free to watch.
And for our listeners, we'll have links to both of these things in our podcast description. Karen, get to the competition.
Okay. They've done this brilliant thing. Tickets are $20, but with that 20, every person who buys a ticket for $20 gets entered into this contest. And I love these groupings. So they also did the draws. You guys did some of the draws as the first episodes were released. So some of them have gone by and been awarded, but there's still some coming up. But listen to these groupings. The first prize was Pride, and it was a hair makeover. Then there was Greed, which was a case of wine. Then there was Lust, which was champagne and candy. Then Envy, which actually that draw happens today, for a cute outfit. Gluttony, burgers and fries from Clive Burger, $100 worth of burgers and fries.
Oh my God.
Wrath, you can get a pass to go to a boxing gym and pound on a bag. And then Sloth is a staycation at Hotel Arts. Like that, is that your hat, Shelby? Because that is genius.
That is, I have to give kudos to our board president, Kirsten Lancaster. That was her baby, bringing in the 7 deadly sins.
Well, I have to get a ticket because the 7 deadly sins contest.
Because I want to pound on a bag.
Yeah. They're amazing prizes too. Like it's like over $1,000 worth of prizes right now.
Yeah.
And it's a $20 ticket. So
Yeah, and I don't even care if I win. I just think the concept of those packages are so clever. Well done, Kirsten.
Well, how's this for a concept? The Breakfast Dish is part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexander Kalman, a Rosebudian. The graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. Karen, what is coming up?
Go to this website, Treehouse Youth Theatre, all one word, treehouseyouththeatre.ca, which is a TYA company in Red Deer. And this company is made up of young actors. They are doing an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. They filmed it and it's online now so that you can stream it. And there's nothing that makes me happier than young people doing Shakespeare. Absolutely nothing. So go to treehouseyouththeatre.ca. And the other thing I want to tell you about is the inaugural Calgary Black Film Festival, which runs May 26th to the 30th online. It's the first of its kind in Western Canada. The closing film of the entire festival is our own Cheryl Fogo's John Ware Reimagined. There's features, there's shorts, and a bunch of free panel discussions. You can get an all-access pass to this entire festival for $49 by going to calgaryblackfilm.com.
Emily and Shelby, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
There is one thing we like to do before we let you go, and that is Karen, as you know, is a professional improviser and is going to make up a question right here on the spot. Might have something to do with Faust, might have something to do with a campfire story, might have something to do with breakfast, might have something to do with clowns driving cars, but it's improvised. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The clown that split their pants, what would they have liked to have eaten as a comfort breakfast after that occurrence?
An apple turnover.
Awesome. Shelby, if you had to find a name for the genre of your music that wasn't epic gothic
Or Faustian.
but had a breakfast theme, would the breakfasty word be that described the music that you composed? She's grasping her head with her fingers like she's crushing her brain to answer this.
If you asked me that question, I would too.
I'm so bad at being put on the spot. I'm just going to go with brunch.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'll take that.
Because that is the mix of a couple different things. And some people can have eggs, but they can also have a salad.
Yay.
That's the right answer.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this episode. Emily Howard is going to take us out with one of her Gretchen lines that ends the podcast episode perfectly. Here we go.
Oh my God. Oh no. Is he dead?
Do you actually say that line?
Bop, 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 bop.
Griffin, guess what?
What?
This episode of The Breakfast Dish is sponsored by ATB. Do you know what ATB stands for?
We have ads now? Oh my God.
We have ads because we're part of the Alberta Podcast Network.
Well, here's a little secret. I do know what ATB is because I'm with them. I have a debit card, so this is conflict of interest.
Okay, so let me tell you. You were born in 1996 and I was born in 1966 and ATB was opened in 1938 and their entire job then was to support Albertans during hard times. Are we in hard times right now? Yeah. Are they still going to help us? Yeah, they are. Because they've got a Bill to Help Albertans campaign, and they're going to help Albertans recover from the effects of COVID. This is a downturn. It's not over, but ATB was built to help Albertans like you and like me.
So ATB is here to answer the hard questions.
Yeah, any hard questions that
Right, okay.
you might have as an ATB account holder.
So I'll go to my bank and go, where do babies come from?
That's great. Yep.
And sorry, what you're saying is you'll promise me that they'll answer those.
Well, they say they'll answer commonly asked questions.
Well, I don't know where babies come from.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, maybe not of my age group, but they won't judge. ATB is great.
Ask them anything. They're going to help you.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.